Hi, I'm Jeff Murrah. I want to welcome you to True Texas History, where today, April the 14th, we are here to celebrate the birthday of the first president of Texas. And it's not Sam Houston. Yes, if you have studied your Texas history, you realize the first president was not Sam Houston. It was none other than David Gouverneur Burnet. Now, some of you may not have ever heard of David Gouverneur Burnet, but he was born this day, April 14th, in 1788. Now, he led quite a colorful life and had some interesting connections that throw a whole new light on Texas history. Now, Burnet was born in New Jersey, and shall we say his parents died early, and he had a rough childhood. When he got a little older, he went ahead and took off and went to South America, joined the army with Francisco Miranda. Now, Miranda is one of these interesting characters in the sense that he had fought in the American War of Independence and fought several other wars, and a company of American volunteers joined him in seeking the independence of Venezuela from Spain. Now, this is before Simon Bolivar led his campaign. But here we have David Burnet down there fighting for Venezuelan independence, which, that's something that not many people are aware of. This man was a freedom fighter, and unfortunately, many of the people, the Americans in his party, ended up dying of yellow fever, and he's one of the few who did survive and made it back to the States. Of course, after making it back to the United States, he set up a trading post at Natchitoches for a while, and at one point he ended up getting tuberculosis, and then he took off on his horse, and apparently he got sick and fell off his horse, and he happened to be in Indian territory with the Cherokees, and so they took him in, they healed him, and he lived with the Cherokees for 2 years. So he does share that in common with Sam Houston, that both of them lived with the Indians for a period of time. Eventually, he made his way to Texas, and actually he joined together with a couple of the other early pioneers, and they formed the Galveston Bay, what was it called? The Galveston Bay Land Company, where they brought settlers in. Now, his actual piece of land is on the opposite side of Lynchburg Ferry from, on the opposite side of San Jacinto River from the Lynchburg Ferry. Now, when I was over there a couple of years ago, it was pretty swampy, but perhaps in his time it was a much better place. Now, at one point he did leave Texas, went to New York, found potential wife, went ahead and married her, and then they managed surviving a shipwreck on their way to back to Texas, and so it's quite a colorful life already. And then when it came time for Texas seeking independence from Mexico, he was the one that was elected the president of the Congress which drafted the Declaration of Independence there at Washington on the Brazos. And that, in effect, made him president. And he served in that office throughout the war. Now, there were times that he and Sam Houston did not see eye to eye, and he was willing to stand his ground. Now, Sam Houston, granted, was a veteran fighter, and so was Burnet. Burnet had seen his share of action, too, in independence movements. He tended to be much more conservative than Sam Houston and some of the others. Some people considered him cantankerous. Now, the man was a master of words and knew how to put things very well. Now, it was after the war, when Sam Houston had captured Santa Anna, that the treaties of Velasco were negotiated by Burnet and Santa Anna. Now, some of the Texans, when they found out what was in the treaty, they were not happy. They wanted to string up Burnet. And there we faced a constitutional crisis. They were demanding he resign and another person be appointed, which, had he gone ahead and done that, would have set Texas up to be a military dictatorship, or having leadership that could be overthrown and dictated. He instead refused to sign, refused to surrender, holding out for a free election among the citizens of Texas, at which time Sam Houston was elected president. Now, Burnet himself later served as vice president under Marabou Lamar. Now, Lamar, when he resigned the office of president, once again, David G. Burnet was president. This time it was not just an appointed thing. He went ahead and served in the office. So, what does that mean? It means, on your Texas history exams, who were the presidents of Texas? David G. Burnet, Sam Houston, Marabou Lamar, Anson Jones. So, we had 4 presidents. So, that's one of those kind of trick questions. And Burnet was known as quite an orator. In fact, I would like to go ahead and read you an excerpt of one of his famous speeches. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but if I am one of those that, as a historian, I feel that we should, as much as possible, let the people themselves speak. So let me read some lines from this. This was at the funeral of John A. Wharton. Friends and fellow citizens, the keenest blade on the field of San Jacinto is broken. The brave, the generous, the talented John A. Wharton is no more. His poor remains lie cold and senseless before you, wrapped in the habiliments of the grave, and awaiting your kind offices to convey them to the charnel house appointed to all the living. A braver heart never died. A nobler soul, more deeply endued with the pure and fervent spirit of patriotism, never passed from its tenement of clay to more genial realms of immortality. He was young in years, and as it were on the very threshold of his fame, and still, it is a melancholy truth to which every heart in this assembly will respond in painful accordance, that a mighty man has fallen among us. Many princes of the earth have perished in their prime, surrounded with all the gorgeous splendors of wealth and power, and their country has suffered no damage. But surely it will be engraven on the tablets of our history that Texas wept when Wharton died. And he goes on. You can definitely tell, biblical influence there in terms of the belief in afterlife. But today is his birthday. Good day to remember. David Gouverneur Burnet, first president of Texas. And I appreciate the feedback many of you have given to some of the other videos. I hope in the near future to go ahead and address them. There were some questions about James Borland and a few others about activities that happened in North Texas, and hopefully I'll be able to get to those soon. But until next time, this is Jeff Murrah wishing you vaya con Dios, my friends. Goodbye.